tung 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 Jigsaw Radio is a work of instant fiction. All characters and other entities appearing in this work are fictitious. Any resemblance to real persons, dead or alive, or other real-life entities, past or present, is purely coincidental or employed for the purposes of satire. Please listen responsibly. Live from East Grumsley, it is the East-West Grumsley City Council debates. Welcome. Thank you, listeners, for joining us here on this momentous occasion. I'm Jim Redring, back again. I'm hosting the debates for Grumsley City Council. Now, we all know the format. Each candidate will have an opening statement. That should last about a minute. After that, I will be asking the questions. The questions will be supplied to the candidates when I ask them. Each candidate will be given a chance to give an answer for 3 minutes. And then other candidates will have a 1-minute rebuttal time, subject to my whims. And then at the end, every candidate will have an opportunity to make a closing statement. Now let's meet the candidates. First candidate is Clare Smith. You know Clare Smith. She owns the flower shop on Maple. She's been part of the city council for years. And her kids do quite well on the soccer team. It's Clare Smith. She'll be at the center lectern. The next candidate to her right will be Frances Pixley. Frances Pixley. Frances is new to town. We don't know much about her, but we do know that she drives that incredible electric car. So that's Frances Pixley, the next lectern. Then, of course, there's John Ball. You all know John Ball. John Ball owns the lumber yard, the restaurant, not the actual lumber yard in East Grumsley, but the restaurant in West Grumsley named after the lumber yard in East Grumsley. So that is John Ball, center stage on the left. Of course, the next candidate is Abercrombie Welton. It would be a Grumsley resident who has been living in a cave of some sort who doesn't know Abercrombie Welton, noted activist, Yeti rights activist, and known socialist, Abercrombie Welton, joining us here on the lectern over this way. And finally, coming to the stage is Sutherland Harmoud Banner. Sutherland Harmoud Banner, of course, the known developer who has done so much great work in developing West Grumsley to the point that it is today, and also co-owner of the stadium. Of course, I'm speaking of the West Grumsley Arena Field that has just reopened after a long period of renovations. So welcome, Sutherland Harmoud Banner, arena owner and developer over there. So, candidates, I'll be giving the questions. You know me, I'm Jim Redring. It's good to be back. I'm not going to take it easy on you. I'm going to be asking you the hard questions. and let's get right to it. First off, opening statements. I'm going to start off with Claire in the middle. Hi, Jim, and thanks so much for that. You say that these are supposed to be a minute long? Yes, that's right, Claire. These should be a minute long, so you should probably get started. Great. Well, you know me, I'm Clare Smith. I've been a member of the council for years. I think I know what is necessary for East and West Grumsley. I am a policymaker. I am a homemaker. I am a future maker. And should I be reelected to the city council, I will be making sure that opportunities exist for every resident of Grumsley, East and West Grumsley. Opportunity is what I'm here to provide, as always. I also hope to make sure that once again the city council has a room to meet in, as opposed to having to live in a tent outside of City Hall, as has been true in past years. Thank you very much. That's Clare Smith. That's Clare Smith. Oh, I'm sorry, your time is up, and we didn't know that the timer was so loud, so we're just going to take care of that right now. Next up, opening statement, Francis Pixley. What can you tell us about yourself, Francis? Well, Jim Redring, I do drive an electric car. I'm not exactly sure what you think that I'm supposed to be making of that. I think that we need some changes on the city council. I think that the city council has been pandering too much to big business, to big developers, to changes in the town structure that make it a polarized society between East and West Grumsley. The polarization between East and West Grumsley is primarily why I feel I should be elected to city council, so I can help address these and help bridge the gap between the two halves of our great, great city to really reach across the canal and rejoin the two halves of our community. Thank you. Thank you, Francis Pixley. Bold words there. Next, we'll go to John Ball. John Ball, why should we, your opening statement, please. Well, Jim, nice to have you back. It is nice to be back here. I was served on the city council, as you know, for many years. I took a break when I was opening the lumber yard. I am now back to promote the causes of business here in East and West Grumsley, especially in West Grumsley, where there is so much room for more opportunity, but also providing tools for the East Grumsley business person to really come true their dreams of perhaps opening new businesses and revitalizing the downtown area of East Grumsley. I'm sure that that is a thing that we can do, and if I were to be elected again to the city council and help serve Grumsley in that way, I would be proud to help businesses start and thrive. Thank you, John Ball, for that bold future vision. Now, next opening statement from our beloved Abercrombie Welton. Abercrombie, Mr. Welton, sir, do you have your opening statement? Well, yes, Mr. Redring, I do have my statement. I've been, as you know, a perennial joke in the local media, in the local press, for all the work I'm trying to do. I've ran for city council 27 times defeated. And I'm not going to make a secret of that. You all know that. I know that. I don't see why I should be a polarizing figure like this. I'm just trying to bring about real change in the community and actually look out for the people who live in Grumsley, not the businesses who want to control Grumsley for whatever reason. So, yes, I think I should be on the council, and I'll keep trying until I get there. That's Abercrombie Welton with his opening statement. Finally, opening statement from Sutherland, Harmwood Banner. Sutherland, go ahead. Well, Jim, and thank you for all of your service here in Grumsley. I'm really, really proud of you for everything you do. And you're just a pillar of the community. I just wanted to take some time out of my precious minute at the beginning to just say that. I really appreciate, and I hope I speak for all of Grumsley when I say that we really appreciate what you do, and we're really happy to see you back. Now, were I elected to City Council, it's simple. I want to help speak for all of Grumsley, like I just did there, saying welcome back to Jim. I just want to speak for Grumsley. I want to be a voice for Grumsley and helping Grumsley move forward better, move forward smarter. I want to be part of the new Grumsley experience. And oh, is that my time, Jim? Well, yes, but go ahead. Well, I want to be part of the new Grumsley experience and make sure that everyone in Grumsley has an opportunity to be the best resident of Grumsley that they can be. Excuse me, Mr. Redring, Abercrombie Welton, it is, you do not actually have the floor. The opening statements period is, but you just gave Harmwood Banner extra time for his opening statement. I was hoping that it was because he said such, he took some of his time to not make a statement. He was speaking extemporaneously. We're all speaking extemporaneously, sir. I believe that we should be afforded the same amount of time for our opening statements. Actually, I believe I agree with Mr. Welton. Ms. Pixley, please. We need to reestablish the format here. I'm just going to cut off all your mics for a second so that I can get the timer back in working order, because I believe it was actually a timer malfunction that gave Mr. Harmwood Banner a little bit of extra time there. So we're just going to reformat the timer, and I'm being told that our techs are on that right now. So while we're doing that, let's just take a quick break and go to a word from our sponsors. Jigsaw Radio is brought to you by Swamp Juice. Swamp Juice. Enjoy it in a can, enjoy it in a glass. It's Swamp Juice. It tastes exactly like it smells. All right, and we're back. We are told that our timer is actually in working order. We don't have a lot of time for this debate, so we're just going to get right to the questions. First question that is on everyone's mind. We need to talk about the zoning changes. There are a lot of zoning changes that have been proposed in previous city councils in lieu of actual policy changes. Zoning changes to downtown East Grumsley that would allow more businesses to move into residential areas, to bulldoze old houses, put up new buildings, and generally revitalize the area. Candidates, what are your thoughts, starting with Clare Smith? Well, I don't think that zoning changes are actually the way to go with this. I think that demolishing historic areas in East Grumsley or West Grumsley, if it were to come to that, because these zoning changes would actually affect both halves of our town. But while I am in favor of opportunities for new businesses, I don't understand why we can't work with the infrastructure that we have. These old buildings they're beautiful and they're part of Grumsley's history. So I believe that we shouldn't just change the zoning so we can knock down all of these buildings and put in random businesses, loud businesses, and strange businesses in traditionally residential areas where people they need more. They need more infrastructure. They need the money to be put back into schools. They need the money to be put into the meal programs that we have here in Grumsley. We don't need all of these new businesses to open up just because we can. So, elected to city council, if I were reelected, I would do what I can to make sure that these zoning changes were to the benefit of Grumsley as a whole, and not just a way of allowing businesses to move in and make new construction and put up the tall radio mind control towers that we're all afraid that are going to come in here. Now, my opponent, Sutherland Harmon Banner, he wants us to deregulate. He wants us to open up the zoning so that he can just start putting large empty frames of buildings, just large empty frames, not even a business. He just wants to build, he wants to tear down a building and build a big empty box. And what he puts in that empty box, nobody knows, because it's private property and we can't go in there without sufficient evidence. So I would oppose that. I would oppose turning East Grumsley into a place of Sutherland Harmon Banner's big empty boxes that serve no purpose. They do nothing for the community, and they're an eyesore. You've seen the ones on the edge of town. You've seen the test models. We all have. They might be smaller. They might be 1/10 size, but we all can imagine what they'll look like if they get put into practice. So you do need to put me back on the city council so I can fight these changes, these zoning changes that would impact all of us negatively, even those of us who live in West Grumsley. If the East Grumsley is allowed to develop it. I'm sorry, Claire, you're out of time. But some very good points. Now, Francis Pixley, your thoughts on the zoning changes in East Grumsley? Well, I agree with my friend Clare Smith here. I do believe that putting up large empty boxes in the center of town in East Grumsley downtown would be not only irresponsible use of public funds and resources, but also criminal. I believe that it would be a criminal act to put all of these buildings in the center of East Grumsley, not knowing what's going on inside, especially with all the flashing lights. Because I don't know if you know this, but there are actually people that live in East Grumsley, and they are affected by flashing lights, just like the rest of us. They don't like them. They don't want flashing lights blasting in their windows at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's all that these buildings seem to do. We don't understand anything about these buildings. We just know that they go up empty from all visible purpose. When they are built, the outside goes up as a frame. We see it. We see an empty frame, and then it's walled in, and we don't see any exits or entrances. They just large boxes with flashing lights in the middle of East Grumsley. I need to be on the city council. You must elect me to city council so I can help prevent these giant flashing beacons from being erected in the middle of downtown. Now, Clare Smith pointed out that Sutherland Harmon Banner is behind a lot of these zoning changes and is behind a lot of these developments. But don't forget that John Ball also has thrown in with Harmon Banner on these. John Ball is an investor in the corporation that is building these giant empty flashing boxes. So if you don't elect me to city council and instead elect either one of them, you know that East Grumsley in 5 years is simply going to be a landscape of large blank rectangles flashing all the time for no reason. Where are the residents going to go? Where are the East Grumsley residents going to go? I don't understand where they could possibly go that would make any more sense. They would have to leave town. They can't afford to live in West Grumsley. West Grumsley is too built up. It's too expensive in West Grumsley. No, East Grumsley, it's where the poor and disenfranchised have traditionally lived in our community. And to destroy their homes and their businesses, to evict them and evict their small stores and just put up flashing boxes, it's absolutely criminal. So you must elect me to city council so I can help prevent the flashing menace. Thank you, Francis Pixley, for that very impassioned answer. Next, we will go to John Ball. You've been called out for being one of the architects of the zoning plan, so we'll give you the 3 minutes to respond to the plan itself, and then we'll give you an extra minute for your rebuttal. John Ball. Well, thank you, Mr. Redring. I appreciate that. I don't know why I'm being slandered here tonight. I believe that my my past business ventures in town, the mini golf course, was very successful. Not so much when we added the go-karts, but who was to know that go-karts were so dangerous? But after that, the all arrows and small pieces of wood store, that did pretty well with the tourists. And then, of course, the lumber yard has been getting great reviews online. It's been getting 4 and 5 stars across the board. And I feel like I've really contributed to this community. So I'm not sure why I'm being attacked like this, but I don't believe that it's totally deserved, and I do resent it a little bit. But so yes, I do believe in expanding the zoning. I do believe that we should take away a lot of the residential restrictions in East Grumsley so that new businesses can build, not just tearing down buildings. That's a thing that we could do, sure, but being able to turn a residential building that already exists, that already has the history, the beautiful Grumsley architecture that we all know and love, I believe that we should be able to turn these buildings into viable businesses, despite old zoning regulations that restrict because of maybe it's a little bit loud. Maybe if you open up a restaurant, maybe if, say, you were to want to expand a second location for your own bar and restaurant, and maybe the only place that it makes sense is in currently an area that is not zoned properly to house that bar and restaurant. So I do believe that a small business owner in Grumsley, these are the people that we're trying to serve here on City Council, is trying to make sure that our small businesses, that our residents are able to not just work for the big corporations, work for the big coffee places, work for the fast food places. We don't want that. We want people to be building new businesses, local business. We want them to be ultra what's the word I'm looking for here, Jim? Independent. We want them to exert their freedoms. And so, which is why I am for expanding the residential zonings. It's why I am for being able to build in these residential neighborhoods, build new businesses, build things. I'm also for cutting taxes locally for new businesses, for small business owners, cutting taxes across the board, and giving incentives to the folks that own those businesses. I believe in all of these things, and while the state does control a lot of these laws, I do believe that on the city council that we will help at least make the regulations that allow for the most freedom for these people who are creating these new jobs, that are creating these new businesses, and who are expanding their bars and restaurants into formerly residential neighborhoods. So that's what I believe, and that's what I think is best for Grumsley. Thanks, John Ball. Wise words there. Abercrombie Welton What are your thoughts on the zoning? Well, I think it's a pile of horse crap. This is my neighborhood you're talking about. East Grumsley. I grew up in East Grumsley. I came to East Grumsley with my family when I was 3 years old. My father, you all know this. You know that my father was a Yeti stock. Still is welcomed in East Grumsley. East Grumsley doesn't look down on Yetis. We all know this. My father and mother, they were chased out of Hartfulton. They were chased out of Wexleydale. East Grumsley, they found a home. East Grumsley, they built a life. They raised a family. They raised me. That's why I fight for Grumsley, especially for East Grumsley. I fight for East Grumsley because it is a diverse, welcoming, incredible community. It has so much expression and so much to give, but it gets squashed by these big money fat cats. These big money fat cats with their 2020 vision plans and their upstairs downstairs mentality. They claim they want to reach across the canal, but no, they don't. They like their West Grumsley. They like the big houses on the hill by the water. They like to look down on East Grumsley and say, what can we do with this? No, I need to be on the city council. You know why? Because I'm the one who knows what East Grumsley needs. I know what Grumsley needs as a whole, because without East Grumsley, ain't gonna be nobody to work in those fast food places, those coffee places. Ain't gonna be nobody who can paint your house for you, mow your lawn, because we're all gonna be having to move out somewhere else. We're gonna have to leave the state. We're gonna leave the country. If you keep making all these changes, making all these buildings go up with the flashing lights, my mama, flashing lights give her a migraine. And that's no lie. That's the absolute truth. My mama, she's 90 years old. She's 90 years old. She lives in downtown East Grumsley, same house that my mother and father bought with pennies that they brought with them from town to town. Established ourselves. We established ourselves in this town. My mom still lives there. My mama, one of these new buildings, the first new building, the first site, if you go down to City Hall and look at the plans are right next to my mama's house, and she's going to have to look at these flashing lights for the rest of her long, I hope, life. But I'm sorry, Amber Crummy Welton, your time is now expired. Jim Redring, you are a patsy. I'm sorry, Welton. That's too far. It's too far, Welton. I'm cutting your mic. Just so you know. No mic for you. Finally, let's go to Sutherland Harmwood Banner. A lot of accusations about you, sir, in this debate about the new zoning changes. So, final words on those. Well, yes, Jim. Well, I'm really glad that you're talking to me about this. I don't need my full time. I don't need my full time. I just want what's best for Grumsley. I think development is best for Grumsley. I think the future is best for Grumsley. I think the future is bright in Grumsley. I don't like this east-west divide. I like reaching across the canal. I like helping East Grumsley up. And that's why I focus a lot of my new resources on developing East Grumsley. Not West Grumsley. We've got plenty over here. No. East Grumsley, that's where I'm focusing my efforts. And that's where I'll focus my efforts on the city council. And that's all I have to say. Wow. Sutherland Harmwood Banner, thank you for that. We are surprisingly already just about out of time. So we're going to skip all of the rest of the questions and go straight to final comments. So starting with you, Clare Smith, final words. Well, I don't understand how we only had a debate with one question. So I'm sorry, that's all the time you have. Francis Pixley,
Actually, I'm with her. We only have, isn't this supposed to be a debate? Weren't we going to talk about the mole people at all? I'm sorry. No time for that. John Ball, your final words. Well, yes. I'm just happy to be here, and I hope everyone goes out to vote as soon as the votes actually happen. Thank you, John. Abercrombie Welton, your mic is off. So, Sutherland, Harmud Banner, your final thoughts. Well, I just want what's best for Grumsley. I just want what's best for my friends, my family, my fellow citizens. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that happens. And you know that I've got the money to do it. Thank you, Sutherland, Harmud Banner. Good luck to all the candidates in the election. This is Jim Redring. Thank you for joining us on Jigsaw Radio for this special news report. Sorry to our affiliates. We ran a little bit over tonight, but we will give you back a minute next week. Good night, and Gort bless.